It reinforced the research that I did on my book that Jeffrey Epstein has always viewed himself as smarter than everybody else, and he also has collected people all along the way, particularly over the 2 decades through his trafficking. And that was always to get secrets and bits of information about individuals that he could pass to other people. He trafficked.
And what if one of America's most beloved family men wasn't just brushing shoulders with Jeffrey Epstein's world, but moving inside the same protected circle?
Some breaking news right now. Disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein has taken his own life while he was behind bars here in New York City. Epstein was facing trafficking charges
that let powerful predators walk free for decades. That's the cloud hanging over Steve Harvey right now.
Took my Winton from me. He turned my son against me.
As brand new Epstein files drop in Washington this November 2025, and the connections between names, timelines, and friendly ties are starting to look way too close for comfort. We're not talking about a random name lost in an email thread. This is a web, a network, where Epstein's shady messages, Diddy's fall from grace, and Harvey's own household scandals start crossing paths in the same years, with the same elite crew and the same eerie silence.
She probably wants to get out early. So I think that we have more digging to do. I think the DOJ transparency effort here is the right thing, but the reason it's on a Friday, Will, is I think there are no smoking guns. There's other places we have to look.
Well, Buck,
In mid-November 2025, the U.S. House dropped a bombshell, more than 20,000 pages from the infamous Epstein files.
Well, hath no fury like a woman scorned. Well, Steve's learning that the hard way tonight. Steve's ex-wife, Mary Harvey, is angry, and she's going...
Now, I'm a Christian, but I ain't that good a Christian.
The documents cover emails from 2008 to 2019, including messages where Epstein bragged that Donald Trump knew about the girls and even mentioned spending long hours at his homes, with witnesses confirming that Trump saw more than he ever admitted. Lawmakers immediately turned it into a circus. Democrats and Republicans accusing each other of twisting the story, each side claiming the other was trying to protect their own.
They're suddenly going to be in the spotlight, and that's just a kind of a strange scenario that we're finding ourselves in. As to why they released it, I mean, look, the grand jury materials, I think, were kind of properly protected by a judge who said, no, it's not enough just that the world's really excited and wants to know kind of scurrilous details about Epstein and Maxwell. The judge, I think, properly, respected the statutory protection.
It sounds political, sure, but here's why it matters. These files are no longer whispers or gossip. They're part of an official record, forcing more big names and hidden relationships into daylight, whether they like it or not. Now throw Diddy's 2024 scandal into that same mix, and the picture gets darker. After years of rumors and lawsuits, federal prosecutors finally dropped a major case on him, packed with testimonies from ex-partners and insiders who describe what they called freak-offs, wild organized encounters going back to at least 2008. By mid-2025, a New York jury cleared him of the heaviest charges like racketeering and trafficking by force, but still found him guilty on 2 counts of transporting people across state and international lines for paid encounters. Each count carries up to 10 years.
So I just keep going through. But then I'll tell you something too, haters motivate me. Because when they talking about me, that means I'm doing something.
Diddy's now serving a 50-month sentence in a federal prison in New Jersey with a new release date set for June 2028 after a recent reclassification behind bars. His lawyers swear they'll appeal, and he keeps denying everything. But the courtroom testimony alone about those filmed sessions allegedly used for leverage has already shattered the clean-cut mogul image he once sold to the world. And this is where Steve Harvey stepped straight into the spotlight, and not the good kind. While Jeffrey Epstein was out here sending smug, creepy emails about presidents and power players, and Diddy was allegedly running a secret underground scene to feed his wildest urges, Steve Harvey was busy shining up his image as America's moral guide. He was preaching loyalty on TV, handing out relationship advice, and telling women to raise their standards like he was the nation's love doctor.
My wish to you is success and millions and billions.
But behind that polished smile, there was a storm brewing. His ex-wife, Mary Harvey, was publicly accusing him of mind games, manipulation, and what she hauntingly called soul destruction.
He's a man with the power. He's in 60 markets. He's written these books. He's socially connected with the programs and Disney and all these type people.
Saying he'd broken her down mentally and emotionally in ways most people couldn't imagine. In 2017, she went all in, dropping a $60 million lawsuit that accused him of conspiracy against rights, emotional abuse, and psychological control.
Took my Winton from me. He turned my son against me.
The judge eventually tossed it, ruling it belonged in Texas instead of California, and Steve's lawyers dismissed the whole thing as frivolous and completely made up. Still, those accusations never really disappeared. They just got buried under the glow of his fame. By 2019, chaos was brewing on every front. Epstein was still alive, still emailing journalists and high society friends like nothing could touch him. Diddy was still running his glitzy nightlife empire, clubs, parties, brand deals, the works. And right in the middle of all that noise, Steve Harvey's own household drama burst into the tabloids thanks to his stepdaughter, Lori Harvey. That summer, Lori, barely in her mid-20s, influencer on the rise, Hollywood's new it girl, was suddenly spotted everywhere with Diddy, who was pushing 50 Cabo trips, matching fits in New York. Then came the photo that broke the internet. Lori, her mom, Marjorie, and Steve Harvey sitting at a lunch table with Diddy in Italy, smiling like it was just another family day out, and the one that made jaws drop, Lori with her arm around Diddy, standing right beside her parents. That one photo flipped the narrative completely. Fans flooded comment sections demanding answers. How could America's dad, the same man preaching morals on national TV, be cool with his stepdaughter dating someone nearly 30 years older, a man tied to years of whispers about control, power, and late-night meetings nobody wanted to talk about? Back then, the media brushed it off like harmless celebrity gossip. TMZ and tabloid blogs called it a fling, while insiders claimed Diddy was just grieving Kim Porter's passing in 2018. They painted Lori as a longtime family friend giving him comfort, and even stressed she never dated Diddy's son Justin, though that rumor had been swirling for years. But in late 2025, that same 2019 timeline looks way darker. In court, jurors heard how Diddy's secret lifestyle, flying partners city to city for marathon encounters, recording everything and keeping a loyal circle to hide it, was already in motion back then. Those cute vacation photos suddenly feel chilling, like glimpses from the edge of something much deeper. And now, with Epstein's newly released emails, that darkness gets even thicker. His messages, messy lowercase notes filled with weird punctuation, showed how untouchable he felt. In one 2019 exchange, he bragged that Trump knew about the girls. In another, he plotted with writer Michael Wolff on how to spin Trump's public words for leverage. The tone was cold, arrogant, the voice of a man who knew the system would always protect him. That mindset, that shield of power, sounds eerily familiar when you look at the circles around Diddy and Steve Harvey. When those Italy photos dropped, showing Lori with Diddy and then again with her parents, fans waited for Steve to speak up, but he didn't say a word. While the internet exploded, he was online promoting his Sand and Soul Festival in Cancun and posting anniversary photos with Marjorie like nothing was happening. And people couldn't help asking, how could America's dad, the man who wrote "Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man," stay silent while his own stepdaughter was linked to a man nearly his age, a man already haunted by tragedy and late-night secrets? We can't ignore that Steve Harvey's silence came from a man whose private life was already under fire. His ex-wife, Mary Harvey, had gone on camera saying their Texas divorce never played out the way the judge promised, claiming she was left broken both financially and emotionally. She accused Steve of using his power and fame to freeze her out while he reinvented himself as a motivational saint for TV audiences. His lawyers hit back fast, promising to fight hard and even countersue. Eventually, her lawsuit got tossed, but those claims of emotional torment and manipulation still hang heavy today, especially now when we picture that same man watching his stepdaughter sitting across from Diddy at lunch and saying absolutely nothing. Insiders say that kind of silence doesn't just happen, it's planned. PR teams, lawyers, and networks often agree to say nothing because one word can open doors they never want open. If Steve had spoken up about Diddy, it would have raised the question everyone's afraid of. What has he seen over the years at private parties, VIP trips, and those exclusive events where the cameras don't go? Harvey and Diddy's paths have crossed plenty since the mid-2000s. Award shows, private galas, celebrity gatherings. If Steve had acted shocked in 2019, the media would have asked why only now, after the photos, he suddenly cared. Had he ignored the whispers long before that moment? Now, as Congress pushes to unseal the last Epstein files and Diddy sits in a federal prison with over 70 lawsuits chasing him, the spotlight swings right back to Steve Harvey. On one side, there's the man on stage telling women to know their worth. On the other, there's the ex-wife who says he destroyed hers, and a stepdaughter once linked to a man later convicted of crimes tied to coercion and control. The pattern keeps repeating, not just individual scandals, but powerful men protecting each other through silence and influence. Epstein bragged about using secrets as leverage. Diddy's accusers said he used money and recordings to keep people quiet. And Steve Harvey, his own filings and interviews show a man obsessed with controlling his story, shaping every narrative to stay untouchable. So when you line it all up, the Italy photos, the courtroom evidence, the resurfaced Epstein emails, the question shifts fast. It's not just whether Steve brushed against these worlds by chance, it's how deep he really went, how much he knew about the men at his table, and how far he'd go to keep the truth locked away behind closed doors. Because for years, we were told Steve Harvey lived above the chaos, clean, family-friendly, wholesome. But now that the documents are spilling out and the timelines overlap, that shiny kingdom doesn't look so separate anymore. It looks cracked, and the cracks are spreading fast. Mary Harvey's $60 million lawsuit getting tossed in 2017 wasn't proof of Steve's innocence. It was a technicality. A Los Angeles judge said the case belonged in Texas, where their 2005 divorce was finalized, leaving her claims of soul destruction, deprivation, and psychological torment floating unanswered. At the same time, Epstein was casually emailing about presidents and the girls like it was business talk, while Diddy was quietly building the same disturbing pattern that would end with his 2025 conviction, recruiting, flying people around, and keeping everything under wraps. The real picture doesn't live in rumors. It's in the documents. Epstein's 20,000 plus pages of lowercase chaos show how power protected itself. Mary's filings vanished in court red tape while she went on YouTube saying she'd been robbed of justice and wanted Steve held accountable. Meanwhile, Diddy's guilty verdict and 50-month federal sentence made it clear his empire had been rotting for years. That's what lawyers now call structured silence. Steve's $200 million empire didn't grow in peace. It grew while accusations were buried, cases rerouted, and PR teams rebranded him as a changed man. Even court documents from that same year listed words like torture, conspiracy, and kidnapping next to his name, and those weren't from gossip blogs. They were official filings covered by major outlets, with his lawyer calling them baseless. So when you line up Epstein's emails, Diddy's timeline, and Steve's legal mess, it's hard to ignore how power keeps cleaning up its own mess while the truth stays locked behind courtroom doors. That same structured silence shows up inside Diddy's prison story. Official reports from FCY Fort Dix say he's facing sanctions for substance violations, making it sound like just another celebrity struggling to adapt to prison life. But insiders say those write-ups often hide something deeper, a way to quietly manage powerful inmates who know too much. A former corrections consultant put it best: a star like that isn't just another inmate. He's a walking archive. And when that inmate has over 70 civil suits pending, some claiming recorded coercive encounters, every hearing, every privilege, every early release becomes political. Then there's Epstein, The same attitude, just bolder. His 2019 emails show him bragging that Trump knew about the girls, mentioning a Mar-a-Lago employee, even offering reporters images that never surfaced. In another thread, he tells writer Michael Wolff how he might use his secrets for leverage. All of it written in his lazy lowercase rambling, like a man who knew the system would always protect him. And that's the mindset tying these worlds together. The belief that money, fame, and silence can bend any rule. So where does Steve Harvey fit in? Right in the middle of what some insiders call Hollywood's reputation racket. Epstein had enablers who didn't touch the crimes but helped cover them. Diddy had staffers arranging travel, paying off silence with NDAs, keeping the machine running. And during those same years, Steve Harvey wasn't just cracking jokes. He was cashing in big. While his ex-wife Mary was online saying he owed her millions and had ruined her life, Steve was signing long-term brand deals that made him the face of family values. In 2017, as her explosive lawsuit used the phrase soul destruction, describing emotional and mental breakdown, the case was tossed on a technicality. And right then, Harvey was locking in new contracts, extending his relationship book empire and launching a fresh talk show partnership that moved him to a new network. One woman's heartbreak was being silenced while his brand of wisdom was being sold nationwide, louder than ever. Corporate America bet big on Steve Harvey, the perfect safe face, a fatherly figure who could sell books, ad slots, and festival tickets while keeping audiences comfortable. But we have to ask, did those companies really miss the filings and allegations, or did they just decide that as long as no court moved forward, none of it mattered? And you've got to admit, Steve's a master at survival. When the Miss Universe fiasco blew up in 2015, he turned it into a running joke and came out even bigger. When one network's ratings dipped, he flipped the script, jumped platforms, and grew his empire through radio shows, festivals, and motivational tours. That's not luck, that's calculated genius. So imagine how carefully he'd play it if questions about Epstein's emails or Diddy's conviction started circling near his name. Every no comment, every focus on positivity post, every motivational clip instead of a real statement. It's all part of a long game. Silence as strategy, played like a professional. Now here we are, late 2025. Epstein's twisted emails getting dissected in DC, Diddy counting time inside FCI Fort Dix, and Mary Harvey's old interviews going viral again. And right in the middle of it stands Steve Harvey, smiling, successful, and untouched, while the walls of power start to tremble. His story isn't just about a host who got too close to bad headlines. It's about a man whose fortune, worth hundreds of millions, grew during the same years the system taught him how protection really works. Steve Harvey didn't just end up near Epstein's orbit by coincidence. He didn't stay quiet about Diddy for no reason. And he didn't build a family values empire while his ex-wife cried torture because the system failed him. He did it because the system worked for him. So now the question isn't whether Steve Harvey knew what was happening. It's who's still protecting him, what they're getting in return, and how many more secrets are waiting in those next document drops. What do you think really ties these names together? When the truth finally hits daylight, whose side will you stand on? Stay alert, drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe, because this story isn't over yet. See you in the next one.